Hello, everybody. Welcome to English class today with Professor Rich. Today, we're talking about the topic of science fiction. We're going to discuss life on other planets. The famous and esteemed science fiction writer Arthur Clarke famously said, "Two possibilities exist. Either we are alone in the universe. Humans and life on Earth is a unique situation. Earth is the one planet which has this amazing, unique thing called life. Or we are not alone in the universe. Both of these possibilities are equally terrifying." And that was the famous quote of Arthur C. Clarke, author of 2001: A Space Odyssey. And this will be our topic of discussion today, as well as looking at particular phrases for expressing doubt and discussing some of these topics in English. So let me start off today with a question for you guys, whether you're joining us live. Hello, Shimi. Hello, Tetsuro. Hello, Manuel. Hello, Pavia. Pavia's joining us today. Julia, hello. Let me start you off with a question. How do you react to this? Aliens exist. That's a fact. Aliens exist. That's a fact. What do you think about that idea? What is your response to that idea? If somebody said this to you, what would you say back? You can type your answers in the chat. If you're watching the video on YouTube, then take your notebook. You do have a notebook, right? And you can write a note about your answer to this question. Sleepwalker simply says, no proof so far. No proof so far. Shimi says that's not a fact, but you're free to believe anything. Very liberal and accepting opinion there. You're free to believe anything you wish. Aliens exist, and that's a fact. Wow, Sonia, you have almost exactly predicted one of the phrases from today's class. Sonia says it's probably true, but have we any proof? This use of have, by the way, when we say have we, using have as a main and auxiliary verb, kind of like a modal, is quite outdated. You can still use it in very formal situations. However, it's better to say, do we have any proof? Or have we got any proof? Also, proof here is uncountable. While there is no definitive proof of alien existence, the vastness of the universe makes it a possibility that cannot be entirely ruled out. And that indeed is part of our discussion today. So let's begin by listening to some phrases to express doubt. We're going to listen You will hear each phrase twice. I'd like you to note the words you hear. So you can write them in your notebook or type them in chat. Listen and type the words you hear. Don't worry if you don't hear all the words or if your answer is a little different from the actual words. This is not about perfection. I just want you to write the words you hear in each of the phrases, okay? All right, here we go. Phrase number 1. Type the words you hear. Do we really have any solid proof? And again. Do we really have any solid proof? Okay, and here is number 2. It sounds kind of far-fetched. And again. It sounds kind of far-fetched. Number 3. Yeah, I'm just not buying it. And again. Yeah, I'm just not buying it. Number 4. I don't know. Sounds more like science fiction than reality. And again. I don't know. Sounds more like science fiction than reality. Number 5. Everything we have is just speculation. You can hear my cats fighting in the background on that one. Number 5, again. Everything we have is just speculation. There's a lot of theory. Number 6. But where's the actual proof? Sorry, let me do that again. Just speculation. There's a lot of theories about it, but where's the actual proof? And again. There's a lot of theories about it, but where's the actual proof? And finally, number 7. It's fun to think about, but until we get some real evidence, it's all just speculation. It's fun to think about, but until we get some real evidence, it's all just speculation. And again. It's fun to think about, but until we get some real evidence, it's all just speculation. All right, well done in the chat for your excellent contributions. We've got plenty of answers there. Many of them very close to the actual words. So let's have a look at the actual answers here. Do we really have any solid proof? Solid proof. Do we really have any solid proof? Sounds kind of far-fetched. Notice with this one that I drop the it. So I just start with sounds rather than using it. This is an example of elision. Sounds kind of far-fetched. I'm just not buying it. I'm just not buying it. Are you buying this? I'm not buying this. I'm just not buying it. Far-fetched means unbelievable, kind of out there. Not very believable. Sounds more like science fiction than reality. Sounds more like science fiction than reality. Yes, that's right. Ellipsis. Sorry, I used the term elision. I have to find a way to get those right in my head. I always mix up the terms of ellipsis and elision. But you're right, Vitelli. It's ellipsis. Elision is when we drop sounds, and ellipsis is when we drop words. Sounds more like science fiction than reality. Everything we have is just speculation. Speculation. Speculation is like a guess. It's what you think or imagine without having real, hard evidence. Pallavi says, why do we do that? Well, there's a number of reasons why we use ellipsis, Pallavi. One is because it's quicker and easier. So it's like, hey, Pallavi, got time? Got time? Pallavi, got time? Got time? Instead of, Pallavi, do you have the time? I can just say, Pallavi, got time? Want a pizza? Want a pizza? Not, do you want a pizza? Just, want a pizza? You want a pizza? You want a pizza or want a pizza? So it's just communication. Number 6. There's a lot of theories about it, but where's the actual proof? Where's the actual proof? That's your phrase to express doubt. Where's the actual proof? Tetsuro, it was dictation. Now we're looking at the answers. And number 7. It's fun to think about, but until we get some real evidence, It's all just speculation. It's fun to think about, but until we get some real evidence, it's all just speculation. So they are our phrases for today to express doubt. Now, as always, the best thing you can do is decide which one of those is your favorite. Which one would you like to learn? Which one do you like the most? Take that one, say it, and decide, I'm going to use this. Just take one. You can take two if you want to be fancy. Shimi likes the third one. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. I'm just not buying it. The third one's a good example of something which has come out of American English and now is popular in English in general. I'm not buying it. Just not buying it. I don't think he's buying it. I don't think he's buying it. It means not believing. I'm not believing it. I just can't buy it. I just can't buy that. Palavin likes number one. Do we really have any solid proof? Yeah, so in number one, you have the excellent collocation of solid proof. Very good proof. Strong proof. Real proof. All right. So they are our phrases for today. Now, let's talk about this topic. Life on other planets. Let me show you a number. How do you say this number? Does anyone know how you say this number? I don't really know how you say this number. There are some ways of saying it. We could say 10 to the power 24. That means 1 and 24 zeros. Or we could say a million billion billion. A million billion billion. That's a big number. I mean, whatever we say, it's a big number, right? It's a real big number. 10 to the power 24. 1 and 24 zeros. What's special about this number? Well, this number is the number of planets in our galaxy which could support life in our galaxy. So what is our galaxy? This is our galaxy. In English, it's called the Milky Way. And scientists estimate that there are 10 to the power 24 planets in this galaxy which could support life. And when we say could support life, we mean the planets have a sun and they are at the right distance from the sun in order to support life, for life to be possible. That's 10 to the power. That's a really big number, isn't it? It's a it's so big that it's basically impossible for us to imagine how many that is. So in our galaxy, the Milky Way, there are that many planets that could support life. That's pretty big, right? Well, guess what? It gets bigger. Because the Milky Way is only one of 200 billion galaxies that we can see. So this means we can estimate that the number of planets which exist in the universe means everything in the physical world, the number of planets which exist in the physical world which could support life is a very big number. 10 to the power 24 multiplied by 200 billion. That's a lot of planets. We've got one here. It's called Earth. Well, there's another very large number. However, you may notice there's no aliens. At least, we haven't seen any evidence of aliens. We haven't heard any alien transmissions that we know of. We haven't seen any alien structures in space. There has been no verified proof of alien spacecraft or evidence of alien civilizations. So, where are all the aliens? Where are all the aliens? So this is a famous scientific problem. It's a famous scientific problem. It's a type of paradox. Do you know the word paradox in English? What does it mean, a paradox? So, a paradox is like something which seems to contradict itself. Here is an example of a paradoxical sentence. Paradoxical. This sentence is not true. That's called a paradox. This sentence is not true. Because, of course, if the sentence is not true, then that means it's not true, which means that it's true. But if it's true, then it can't be not true. So this is an example of a paradox. Paradoxes are like a logical contradiction. This sentence is not true. There are other examples. So I could say, every single thing I say is a lie. Which, of course, includes that sentence, which means it can't be true. This sentence is not true. So that's a paradox. Now, this problem is called the Fermi paradox. Fermi was an Italian guy, Italian scientist. And Fermi, basically, he talked about the things we just discussed. He said, there are many planets which could have life, but we have not seen life. Oh, why not? So he asked the question, why? Why have we not seen life? There's so many planets. We saw the number. It's a very big number. And we need to account for this paradox. With such a large number of planets which could support life, we should expect to see life. But we don't. So where are all the aliens? The Fermi paradox is very fun to talk about. And one of the things we can discuss with this is how to explain it. So Pallavi says some planets don't have oxygen atmosphere. That's true, but at some point, Pallavi, surely a planet must change from no atmosphere to oxygen atmosphere. That must be something that can happen. Well, now we have 200 billion times by 10 to the power 24 planets which could develop an oxygen atmosphere. Surely it will happen with a number like that. Well, actually, Pallavi, water, you can find water on other planets. I'm not an expert, but I believe that there is water on the moon and water on Mars. Cal says the limitation of our recent space technology, we haven't reached the speed of a light year. Yeah, but Cal, why can't we see evidence? Why don't we pick up the transmissions? So there are some rather interesting explanations of Fermi's paradox, and we're going to talk about some of those. The first one that we'll talk about is this. Alien life is already here in secret. What do you guys think? Is this possible? Is this why we can't see the evidence of alien life? Because they're already here in secret? What do you think? Opinions in the chat. They are the ones hiding, not us. It means you are an alien. I'm not making that claim. Yeah, sleepwalker. Well, that is the explanation, isn't it? That's this explanation. Perhaps they explore us without revealing themselves. Tetsuro assures us that he's not an alien, which is exactly what a real alien would say. Do you know that Einstein is one of the most misquoted people in history? All right, let's have a look at the next explanation. Earth is deliberately left alone. What do you think? Earth is deliberately left alone. So the aliens know we're here, but they don't come and they don't contact us. Is this possible? Or is it just speculation? Do you buy this? I think because I shaved my beard. That is what we're saying, Pure Care. And right now, we're talking about the explanations. Sonia says, I can't buy it. We'd normally say I don't buy it. Maybe they think there's nothing to learn here. Maybe they're right. Well, actually, Manuel, when we say alien, We mean from another planet. Yes, it is sometimes called the zoo hypothesis. All right, let's have a look at the next explanation. Intelligent life moves beyond the physical. So maybe intelligent life reaches a stage of space travel, and then very quickly we move beyond the physical. What do you think? Cal calls it the Matrix hypothesis. Is this why we can't see the evidence of the aliens, of the humans? I'm revealing my origin there. Is this why we can't see the evidence of the aliens? Because they move beyond the physical? You don't understand this one? It means that there is either a technological or spiritual progression for intelligent life. And when you get to space travel, you basically get to the point where just after space travel, you develop some technology or spiritual development which causes life to transcend the physical realm. Not so much invisible, but that we are no longer physical beings. Like you become maybe pure energy or just beyond the physical realm. Like pure consciousness. Or like the Matrix, as Cal mentioned. Because it could be like a kind of an interesting one where you go into the Matrix, you go into spiritual enlightenment, but it also could be something quite dark. Like we plug into the technology and we live in Mark Zuckerberg's metaverse. So we've got some people who are connecting with this one. Yes, we talked about that, Mask Girl. That was the first example we looked at. That's absolutely right, Cow, and that is a possibility. I mean, if someone makes a game that's better than life, will everyone play it? Ashley says it's a bit far-fetched. Okay, let's move on to the next one. All intelligent life destroys itself. So basically, you get to the point of space communication and travel, and then very soon after that, life destroys itself, and that always happens. Is that possible? How and why? Well, I guess you develop a massive nuclear bomb and then start having wars between nuclear powers, which seems like a very real and worrying situation right now. No, that's not what I'm saying. Although, if this is true, you could make that argument. However, I think we all hope that this is not true, Pallavi. Because if it is true, it's quite depressing. So I think we really hope this isn't true. The question is, can we prove it here on Earth? Can we prove it by perhaps not having World War III? Could be good to not do that, right? All right, next. Interstellar communication is dangerous. Maybe this is why we haven't heard from the aliens. What do you think? Interstellar communication is dangerous. So the aliens can see us and they hear our transmissions, but they don't respond. I love these images. They were made by ChatGPT. I love the idea of aliens which have interstellar communication devices and they just have big lights that say, don't answer. Like they built this technology to communicate, but then they need to remind themselves not to use it. Yeah, but we're experts at that, Sleepwalker. I don't think it's that difficult. We've done it many times before. Civilizations with different languages have communicated all throughout history. Okay, next. We're not listening in the right way. So maybe aliens are trying to contact us, but we're not listening in the right way. How are we listening? We're listening for radio waves, electromagnetic waves. Is that a good way to listen? Do the aliens also use electromagnetic waves to transmit? What else could they use? Yeah, that's worrying. Very worrying. That's right, Sleepwalker. That's the exact point. That the equipment that we're using to listen might not be the right kind of equipment to hear what the way the aliens are transmitting. Okay, and the last one. Aliens are just too incomprehensible. We think that aliens are something that we can understand, but actually it's just completely outside of our comprehension. It's like a dog trying to understand a dolphin. Can a dog understand a dolphin? Can a cat understand a jellyfish? How can a cat and a jellyfish communicate? How about this? How about an ant understanding an eagle? Or a tree understanding bacteria? This is all theory, Masker. We're talking about the explanatory theories for Fermi's paradox. And Fermi's paradox is the suggestion that there are many, many, many planets which could support life in the universe. However, we have not had verified contact with intelligent life. Yeah, it's funny you should say that, Pallavi. That's exactly what Manuel said before about Steven Spielberg and E.T. It is funny, isn't it, how that really has become the paradigm of Alien. The big eyes, small nose, small mouth, big head. Incomprehensible for humanity, Manuel, is the point. Kind of like expecting a 2D stick man to understand a 3D animal. That's very difficult, isn't it? That is actually one of the things that I really like about the Fermi paradox, is it does engage our imagination. It really gets us thinking about it. Pavia says aliens, if they exist, might seem incomprehensible due to the vast differences in biology, culture, and perception. And Julia says aliens are, to all intents and purposes, beyond our reach, and it seems to us mind-boggling. When we say it seems to us and an adjective, we don't need the word like. We only use like when it's a noun. But you've used mind-boggling, which is an adjective. So we can drop like and just say, it seems to us mind-boggling, or it seems mind-boggling to us. Mind-boggling means just very confusing. But is there anyone who could think human beings in 2024 are the same as 100 million years ago? No, definitely not. I don't think anyone would really think that. I don't think human beings didn't exist 100 million years ago, did they? I don't think we have any evidence that humans are that ancient. Not 100 million. What's the oldest evidence of humans? $360,000. Just 360,000 years. We have evidence of that. Not that many, is it? What is that? Is that, let me try work this out. 360,000 years. And if we say that people live about, I don't know, what's the age difference between generations? About 30? So about 30. 12,000. That means if you take your parents and their parents and their parents and their parents, then you can go 12,000 years all the way to the very start. Sorry, 12,000 years, 12,000 people. So your parents, their parents, their parents, 12,000, and we get to the first humans by evidence. Kind of interesting to think about. Carl says, are there reasons for aliens to come and socialize with us if we're lower intelligent forms of life? Well, Carl, think about this. Is there a reason for us to try and communicate with animals? Yeah, right? People try to do this all the time. I try to do it with my cats. We try to do it with dogs, dolphins, chimpanzees. We try to communicate with animals. So, yes, actually, I think there are reasons for aliens to come and socialize with us. Socialize, yeah, to some extent socialize. I mean, I socialize with my cats. So, you know, why not? I suppose it depends how they see us, because if it's like socializing with a fly, like I don't socialize with flies. Does anyone there socialize with flies or mosquitoes? Maybe the aliens see us like a mosquito. Bzzz. Get away the human being, the mosquito. Bzzz. Yeah, annoying. Maybe they see us like that, so then they don't socialize with us. I doubt that we can pay them anything that they need from us. I don't think an alien race that comes here through space, I don't think they need anything from us. But they may interact with us out of interest, because one of the fundamentals of being intelligent is that you're curious. Actually, intelligence is, to some extent, it's synonymous with curiosity. It's extremely unusual to be both intelligent and closed-minded. Not saying it's impossible, but it's highly unusual. So curiosity comes with intelligence. And because of that curiosity, we might expect the aliens to give us a chance or have a chat at least. Planet Earth is a good place to live. Hey, you don't know what planet Quasar is like. It could be way better. I don't know, Sleepwalker. I think that if you have the technology to travel through space to different solar systems, I think you could create a planet like Earth without a lot of difficulty. Well, okay, with some difficulty, but you know, it is potentially possible to terraform, to create Earth, to create structures in space. You know, it's all just a question of energy. And if you think about the capacity we have now to produce energy using nuclear power or solar power, the aliens will surely have much better ways of producing energy. And if you can produce energy, by the way, production of energy is controversial. Maybe that's the wrong term, produce energy. If you can convert energy simply from one form to another, then I don't think it's too difficult to create some sort of planet like Earth. Now, I think that's a bit more plausible, the idea of Earth being like a country house. Like maybe the aliens, they use Earth like holiday, you know? Like how some people might go on holiday to Madagascar. So Madagascar is known for being kind of wild, like lots of wildlife and stuff. And maybe the aliens see Earth like that. Like they'll come here, go on holiday, don't disturb the wildlife too much. You know, oh, there's some humans over there. You know, be careful. And we just don't notice them for some reason. Like maybe they're too strange. Maybe we can't see them. You know, maybe they have ways of disguising themselves. Who knows? But that's possible. I think one interesting thing about it is if aliens showed up, then all conflict on Earth would pretty much stop. Because it's like, once the aliens show up, we're like, you know what? Maybe we don't need to worry about this and that and these things between us. Maybe we worry about this instead. Maybe there's other things to talk about. It would probably unite humanity to some extent. What do you think about that? So thank you very much for listening today, folks. You can, of course, download the notes from today, as always, from the link, which is on your screens at the moment. And I will post that in the chat. And it will be available down below the video. We do have some time for questions today. So if you have any questions, you can type those now, and I will do my best to answer them. So any questions for me about this topic, about education, or about language learning in general? Oh, yeah. And make sure that you smash that like button and hit subscribe. Especially if you've just found this video, you've just found this channel. Great time to do that. Make sure you subscribe and smash that like button if you'd like to see more content like this. Yeah, exactly, Manuel. I think I am hopeful that aliens would kind of help us rather than threaten us. Because as you say, we threaten ourselves. Yeah, I mean, even if they're friendly, I think it would unite us to some extent. Pavio asked a question. If aliens are out there, do they debate whether humans are real or just a weird cosmic conspiracy theory created to test their patience? I think if intelligent life exists and it's at all similar to us, in other words, that it's not totally incomprehensible, then almost certainly they will go through a period of having this kind of debate, probably at around this technology level. That's just my opinion. What's that, Pallavi? What'd you say? Your efforts? Should humans worry about aliens rather than most real disasters? No. I think we really do need to worry about real disasters, especially natural disasters and real problems for sure. We need to worry about it. The thing is, just be very careful about the information that you receive from authority. Like the media, experts, and politicians. But in general, yes, I agree with that concept. Just remember, for example, if you watch the news, you will hear that there are 2 wars going on in the world. Actually, there are many wars going on in the world. It's just we don't hear about all of them. So if we're going to worry about war, which we should, because war is bad for sure, terrible, terrible thing, then we should worry about all of them. And often the media will report wars in a way which encourages the population to support those war efforts. Pallavi says, do you know who has the most IQ in the world? IQ is a very controversial topic, Pallavi. And there's a few reasons for this, but particularly because of studies in the 70s, which showed variation in IQ among ethnic groups. This is so controversial to talk about that I'm afraid to mention it on a YouTube channel. But I suppose what I can mention is that Asians are shown, and I believe that's Oriental Asians, so sort of Chinese, Japanese descendant, Vietnamese and so on, are shown to have an average IQ of about 110, whereas white Europeans are shown to have an average IQ of 100. So that means that the average IQ of an Asian is 10 more, which is huge, than the average white European. And there are other rather controversial ethnic groupings in that study. So IQ is a very controversial subject. And the response, the criticism is, it's cultural. IQ tests are based on cultural aspects, which is why we see these differences. However, IQ tests were invented by European scientists. So that doesn't really explain why they favor Southeast Asians and East Asians. And Jewish people also do very well on IQ tests on average. It's a weird thing. But this is just average. I mean, you get exceptions everywhere. Of course, averages don't tell you that much, actually. We're all unique individuals, and statistics have a lot of limitations. Pachu says, can you say how to use collocations, fill in the blanks type, how to master them all? Yeah, so this is just testing collocation knowledge, Pachu. And collocation knowledge is something which really tests your experience with English. There are several ways to improve your knowledge of collocations. The main one is just time and exposure to the language. However, second to that, and also very important, is that when you learn vocabulary, you learn the collocation, learn the phrase. I'm saying this all the time on this channel. Don't focus on individual words. Focus on collocations and phrases. It's super important. And it's the way that you should learn language right from the start. I have a class this year, which is an entry 1 class. That's A1, beginners. And in our second class, we learned this question. What's your favorite thing to do? That's our second English class ever. We learned that question. What's your favorite thing to do? And we just learnt it like a phrase. What's your favorite thing to do? What's your favorite thing to do? And they know it. They know it. They can ask that question to anyone now, and they all know it. And even if they get it a bit wrong, they say, what's favorite thing to do? Or what's favorite thing to do or something, but they get it. And they can get some conversation going with that. Maybe just understand some bits. So, I encourage phrasal learning right from the start, and I think it works. So that's my tip there. Cow says, how to check the grammar of a music phrase to see whether it's common use correct or not. Can you give me some more details of that, Cow? I don't quite understand what you mean by a music phrase. How to check the grammar of a music phrase to see whether it's common use or not. Do you mean that you have a phrase in English which relates to the topic of music and you want to check if that's commonly used? Is that what you mean? Can you tell me the phrase that you're asking about? Bavia says, do aliens grapple with existential dread? Or have they concluded that the meaning of life is just cosmic absurdity, just a way to incorporate your philosophy? No, aliens have all been saved by Jesus Christ. Actually, maybe that's heretical to say that. In my opinion, that's not supported necessarily by scripture. Sir, can you say any websites or books for phrasal verbs and idioms? I don't think you should get books which are specifically used for phrasal verbs and idioms. I think you should learn phrasal verbs and idioms through vocabulary mining, which is a technique we've discussed many times on the channel. You can find videos of it on the channel. Just look for Professor Rich vocabulary mining. And you should use that technique to learn all of your phrasal verbs and idioms. Just raise your awareness of it and then look for it and then note it down. That's how you do it. I wouldn't recommend choosing specific books to learn it. Unless you really want to, but I can't particularly recommend any. Pure Kerr says, I'm surprised on your overall knowledge. It's a problem, Pure Kerr. So I have a personality trait called openness, which is like intellectual curiosity. And I'm extremely high in that. And it's a problem because it makes it difficult for me to focus on one area. Instead, I always want to learn about new things all the time. It's one of the reasons why I enjoy teaching languages so much, because language teaching gives you the possibility of creating lessons on a variety of topics, which allows me to explore those topics myself. But it is actually a problem. People who are very high in openness get bored very easily. And I do. I get bored very, very easily. So that's how that happens, Pure Care. That I'm just interested in new things, and so I learn about them. And I do classes on them. Like this. I quite often do classes on the Fermi paradox specifically. This interest started when I studied a free online course called Astrobiology and the Search for Extraterrestrial Life. And that was a course given at the University of Edinburgh online. I think it might still be available if you search for it. If you search for Astrobiology Coursera, which was the name of the platform, and free course. You should find it. May the force be with you. Pure Care showing the coffee and making me feel jealous now because mine's disappeared. Oh, lines from songs? Is that what he's talking about? I was watching YouTube Shorts and suddenly I came across ielts. One thing I understood from there is we have to extend our answers if they ask questions like, what's your favorite food? Yeah, well, extend your answers. I mean, the thing is, Pallavi, if I say, what's your favorite food? And you go, pizza. That's a bad answer. A good answer is, well, I kind of like pizza because I really like the combination of the cheese, the kind of burnt cheese on top and the fresh tomato sauce underneath. I do recognize that it's not particularly the most healthy food in the world, but it's just incredibly satisfying. You know, an answer like that. So yes, you need to extend your answers beyond one-line answers. I thought there was intelligent life in the world until I could listen to Donald Trump. From then, I'm in dilemma. Manuel, there is no doubt in my mind Donald Trump has a very high IQ. 160, 165, at a guess, I would say. The way he talks is a deliberate use of simple words. You can tell that. When you listen to him and you see him talk, you can see that it is deliberate that he talks like that. That's intentional. Do not be fooled. Collocation books, which do you recommend? I just don't think that's the right way to go, Pachu, so I can't recommend them. Like, what I would say is read a book which interests you and then look for the collocations yourself. You don't need a book which shows you collocations because there's too many of them. It's impossible. You have to learn through exposure and through vocabulary mining. Let's see if I can find something for you. Hold on. Yeah, that's a decent one. Okay. Let's get that out. English Collocations in Use by Michael McCarthy and Felicity O'Dell. That's one you could check out. And one of my personal heroes, Michael Lewis, the grandfather of the lexical approach. You could read The Lexical Approach, The State of ELT and a Way Forward by Michael Lewis. Want to check the grammar of this sentence. Don't let the love now is just a pain. So this is the thing, Cal. When it's song lyrics, they don't follow the rules of grammar anyway. And there's often lots of features such as ellipsis, which we talked about before, where words can be dropped and so on. So don't let the love now is just a pain. It doesn't make particular grammatical sense. And actually, without the context, it's quite difficult to understand. Noah's Ark. Yeah, Noah's Ark. So I'm not an expert I'm not a biblical scholar and I'm not an expert in Noah's Ark in particular. However, essentially there was a lot of terrible things in the world. And so God sent a flood to basically destroy the terrible civilization that had become very, very bad. and he decided to save Noah. So he told this guy called Noah, build a big boat that will protect you from the storm, from the floods. And on that boat, you will take some animals in order to repopulate the planet. That is the story of Noah's Ark. I don't know the full details. But I know that lots of archaeologists are quite interested in this area at the moment, because it seems like there is quite a lot of archaeological evidence which suggests there was a flood. I will, Manuel, very soon. Thank you very much. I hope you've enjoyed the class. Thank you, Sonia. I think that is one of the reasons why people who choose me as a teacher, they like that. And on the contrary, the students who don't like me as a teacher tends to be the same thing. They think my classes are weird and too advanced. Which is okay. I don't take that personally. It's just my style of teaching. But if you enjoy these topics and you enjoy curious learning like this, then I'm your teacher. Nadia says, you just described my personality. I've got 2 higher education plus graduated from medical college at 36, which I entered just for fun. So I recommend, Nadia, if you want to find out more, I recommend that you do a Big 5 test. And there's free ones that you can find, but I actually recommend there's a paid one. It's quite cheap, and I'll just find it. Yeah, understand myself. So I recommend this one because it is academically verified. So check it out. Understandmyself.com. It costs $10 to do. And it's worthwhile doing if you want to discover if you are that personality type. Definitely pineapple. Pineapple goes very well with pizza. No, that's not true, Pallavi. They're not forced to smile. They're not forced to smile at all. Maybe that's just the specific examiner that you're thinking of. But you know, I'll show you how I do it. It's a little bit synthetic. Hello, my name is Richard Nolan, and I'm the examiner today. And what's your name? Thank you. And where are you from? Thank you. In the first part of the test, I'm going to ask you some questions about yourself. What do you like to do in your free time? So that's how I would interact as an IELTS examiner. The role of the examiner, what they're told, is to help candidates relax. So you're not told necessarily to like smile a certain way, but you should do things that encourage the candidate to relax. So it shouldn't be like creepy smile, but more like, you know, be friendly. Be friendly. Thank you, Pavia. That's a wonderful compliment. That's the thing, isn't it, Nadia? It's much better to learn in context rather than learning these vocabulary books. So it's worthwhile reading the Michael Lewis book, which teaches about the lexical approach, because that will give you an insight into why and how to learn from context. Thank you very much. And yes, thinking critically is critical. It's astrobiology. Let me see if I can get it. Yeah, it's there. It's there. Charles Cockle. That's the guy. Lots of people like him. I think, well, I don't want to get onto politics since we had spicy conversations about politics last time. But lots of people like him, and I think he is definitely demonized by the mainstream media heavily demonized. Well, yes, Fatmina, that's right. Of course, I said repopulate the earth. Yeah, Plato's idealism. I mean, what do you want to talk about with relative to it? Basically, Plato's idea is that nothing in the real world exists as we think it exists. So the way we think it exists is the perfect conception of it. So when we think of a triangle, we think of something with exactly 3 sides, only 3 sides, made of 3 straight lines. That's a Platonic triangle. However, of course, in reality, that's impossible because every single triangle that exists will not have an exactly straight line. There'll be little problems with the line. Maybe it moves a little bit by an atom here or an atom there, Maybe the edges don't quite connect. Maybe they go over. Basically, when you really, really, really look at stuff, you find it's always imperfect. It's never the perfect idea. So it never matches the idea. And Plato basically takes that and applies it to everything. So everything has this idea form, which is perfect, as in it's exactly how we think it is. But nothing in reality actually is like that. Something like that. Yeah, maybe you're right, Pallavi. Yeah, I guess you can get weird examiners, right? What can you do? I mean, this goes back to a discussion that was started by Mark Almond, where he spoke about, he had a background in drama, and he spoke about bringing elements of drama teaching into educating teachers. Basically, he was saying, we tell teachers what to do, but we don't tell them how to be. And you could apply the same thing for examiners. We tell them what to do, like we say, smile. That's what to do. But we don't tell them how to be. Like, no, don't. It doesn't matter about smile. Just be friendly. And how do you be friendly? Well, you can practice it in drama style ways, right? And Mark Almond basically argued that we should do this as part of teacher training. That teachers, we we should do exercises and practice and talk about how to be as a teacher rather than what you do. Well, depends what you mean by animal. Depends what you mean by animal. If you mean biological creature, then we are at least partly a biological creature. But I think often when we distinguish humans and animals, we're basically distinguishing... I mean, there is an important distinction. Humans are very different. And in the context of Noah, obviously we're talking about God's chosen and the beings who were created in God's image. Because obviously Noah is a biblical story. Yeah, and I think that's probably true. That's not true, JV. They are the concept of a perfect shape, but you show me on a computer screen or a piece of paper a fractal with a perfect shape. And then I can zoom in with a microscope and I can see, no, it's not perfect. Look, there's the pixels on the screen. It's not perfect. Or if it's on paper, printed, I zoom in until we get down to the resolution of the printer and I say, look, it's not perfect. So actually, fractals are only theoretically perfect. In reality, they're not perfect. You can't make a perfect one because you can always get down to the level where it's imperfect. Whether that level is atomic, subatomic, or whatever you want. That's Plato's point. We are, no, it's right. No, Pallavi, it's right to say that we are social animals. That's correct. Because the use of animal there just means biological creature. And we are social biological creatures. That's true. It's just that you can use animal in another way, which means like, not a human animal, right? So there's animal as in biological creature, but then there's animal as in biological creature, which is not a human. I know that's a bit self-defining, but you can, depending on the context. So we can say humans and animals, right? And it makes sense because when I say humans and animals, I'm not saying humans who are animals and animals. Like if I said to you cats and animals, that sounds weird because cats are animals. So when I say humans and animals, then obviously I'm using the word animal as different. But if I say the human animal, then I'm talking about a different category of animal, which is biological creature. So basically we can use animal to mean non-human biological creature, but also we can use animal to mean any biological creature. It's all just about context, and words are always like this. We use it metaphorically. Use what metaphorically? Yes, that phrase is correct. Poker face. Oh no. Really? In a speaking exam though, Chris? Like the thing is, if it's a speaking exam, poker face is not good because it really stresses out the student. But if it's a written exam, sure, poker face is okay. Because, your job as an invigilator, that's not an examiner, that's an invigilator, is to watch and vigilate, right? But if it's a speaking exam, then, I don't agree with poker face. You just stress people out. Thank you very much, Pure Care. That's incredibly kind. I hope I can live up to that. Now I'm getting embarrassed, Pallavi. Maybe. I did it on a stream like 2 years ago. I sung. I did sing. All right, that's it. Thank you very much for joining me today, everybody. Make sure that you once again do smash that like button and hit subscribe. It's been my pleasure. My name has been Professor Rich, and I wish you all a lovely, lovely weekend and a lovely week after that. And I will see you next Saturday. Bye for now, folks.